So I am Kevin, and this is basically, I want to say it's like my 5th gRPC Conf. So super excited to be here, see all of you, and kick off our first gRPC Conf in India. So the first one I did was in Detroit as part of KubeCon. How many of you have any of you attended the KubeCons conferences? Yeah, quite a few. So I was at the KubeCon Atlanta last week, so that's why I'm a little under the weather. So there's 15,000 people there, and had a really good time, able to go out there, advocate for gRPC, and a bunch of other stuff that I'm working on at Google. I'm curious, how many people here are from outside of Bangalore? Cool. Wow. That's awesome. So maybe a third of the people from outside of Bangalore. It's great to see everybody coming from a long way away. Did anybody come here on an airplane? I did. One more. Couple more. That's awesome. Where'd you guys come from? Where? Jaipur. All right. How about Pune? Very great. That's awesome. Cool. Well, I think it's just after 10:15, so we'll go ahead and kick things off. Definitely want to remind everybody, if you can take your phones and put them on silent, so we don't have any disruptions. And there's a phone room out there and things like that if you need to take that throughout the day. Again, my name is Kevin Nilson, and I am the steering committee member for gRPC and the gRPC Conf Program Committee Chair. Last year, gRPC actually celebrated its 10-year anniversary. And so we ran a big conference like this in Sunnyvale, California at the Google Cloud headquarters. And it was a great time to get everybody together to celebrate that 10 years. Today, we're doing our 11th year of gRPC, and we just continue to grow. And as part of that growth, we decided to go ahead and kick things off with our event here in Bangalore. So welcome all of you for being part of the first ever gRPC Conf India, and we expect and hope that there'll be many more to come after this. I want to thank everybody for coming. I know all of you have very, very busy lives, and we really, really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedules to come here and be with us. And so hopefully the day becomes very valuable for you, and you get back a lot of that, but definitely want to thank all of you for coming here today, spending the time with us, and hopefully you'll be part of making this a really, really great event. And so we encourage you, bring lots of questions, comments, things like that throughout the day. Make this an interactive event, get to meet lots of people, learn about what they're doing, how they're using gRPC, and make today a great event. If you don't have the info already, this is the Wi-Fi information, so go ahead and grab a picture of that. We want to thank Google Cloud for being a diamond sponsor for today's event, providing the venue and the food and a bunch of other things, making that all possible. And fun fact, many of the gRPC team members are here in Bangalore. We got a nice team here in Bangalore, and that's where a majority of the people working on gRPC work. So you'll get to meet a bunch of them. It's a great opportunity to interact both with those of you who are using gRPC as those who are building gRPC. Also want to thank the CNCF and Linux Foundation for all their contributions for helping gRPC. For those of you who don't know, gRPC is a CNCF project, the Cloud Native Computing Foundation project. And so gRPC is open source, and the CNCF has many projects. Does anybody know the most famous project? Kubernetes, exactly. So a ton of other projects there. One of the things that we are working towards is graduation in the CNCF. And so that's something that hopefully in the next few weeks or so, we'll be submitting out the initial proposal for that. And hopefully will become a graduated project before we meet again next year. I want to thank the program committee members. So Ashish, Ashita, and Srinithi are back in the back. and they helped review all the papers and make selections about all the great content that we have today. Unfortunately, we weren't able to select all the talks. We just had so many. But I do want to remind folks, either if you submitted then or if you'd like to in the future, we run a meetup quite frequently here, and we're always looking for speakers for the meetup. And so if you'd like to do that, please let Srinithi know, and I'm sure she can, help make that possible. So we'd love to have you do that. Here's a group of people who helped organize today's event. And, it's been a long process. We've been working for about 6 months to make today's event possible. And I did want to take a moment for a special thanks to Srinithi. She's been spearheading the event here in Bangalore, in India, and really doing an amazing job making, all the logistical pieces and making, all the magic behind the scenes happen that's going to make this a great success and where we're at here today. So many thanks, Srinithi, for everything you've done. The next thing I want to talk about is the GRPC Steering Committee. This is a new committee that's been formed, and what the process is for the steering committee is kind of help drive, learn from, people using GRPC, either different users or going to conferences like KubeCon, figuring out what are the types of things that people want. And part of this, creating the steering committee, was around trying to help support graduation. And so what graduation is basically, right now GRPC is an incubating state in the CNCF project, and we would like to become a graduated project. And so part of that was creating a steering committee. And so, I'm one of the members of the steering committee. A few notable contributors to GRPC. Lucio Franco, who's done a bunch of the tonic and a bunch of the Rust work in GRPC, and Antoine from Datadog. So these two guys have done just a tremendous amount of contributions over the last year, and wanted to recognize them for that. And that said, we would love to have contributions from all of you. There's many ways you can contribute to GRPC. Maybe it's through code in a pull request, but also maybe it's just through submitting a bug. And that's the easiest thing, and it's something that we actually appreciate. If something isn't working the way that you think it should, please let us know. Or if there's a piece of documentation you think is missing or is confusing, please let us know so that we can continue to make GRPC better and better every single day. There's a bunch of ways to stay connected with GRPC. We have the GRPC.io website. I'm sure all of you have seen that. That's where our documentation and other things are. We have a Google group. This is a great place for you to ask questions and get answers both from the community as well as the GRPC org members. We've got a YouTube channel. We've been trying to push a lot of content in there. And so I imagine many of you were not able to attend the GRPC Conf in Sunnyvale, but all the talks are up on YouTube. And so you can see those there, all the meetup talks, and then also periodically we're pasting content for new material. And of course, if you have friends who are not able to make it today, let them also know about the YouTube channel, because all the content from today's conference will be up there. Finally, as I mentioned earlier, we've got a meetup and an X where we post kind of announcements and things, and would love to have you join us at the meetups, just like the conference today. And how many of you have attended one of the GRPC Conf meetups before? Yeah, a few. And I imagine that's where folks heard about today's event. One of the things I did want to call out is, a few years ago at GRPC Conf, we kind of heard feedback from the audience, interacting with folks. They kind of told us that at that time they felt like GRPC was one of the harder open source projects to use. And they felt like a lot of our documentation, our samples, were lacking compared to what they saw in other comparable large open source projects. And so as a result of that, we've put a huge effort into that area, trying to improve our documentation. Hopefully this is super helpful for all of you. For sure, a lot of new guides, a lot of new samples, and we've been putting a lot of effort into creating new video content. Ton of code labs, and so for sure, if you haven't seen that stuff, absolutely take a look and see if it can help you with your gRPC development. Wanted to share some of the growth. You can kind of see since the very beginning, since the last 10 years and more, gRPC just continues to grow. And what we're looking at is the number of stars on GitHub across various languages and areas. And over time, it just continues to grow and grow and grow. And so we thank all of you for that contribution, continuing to use gRPC. And if I look a little bit deeper at some of the details, you can see from Apache Maven, from Maven Central, the downloads there, 70 million weekly downloads. That's a lot of downloads of the library just for the Java library. In Python, 51 million downloads from PyPy, so pretty awesome number, and 19 million weekly downloads from NPM for Node. And so a lot of great growth. gRPC continues to be as relevant as it ever has, continue to grow, adding a bunch of new features, and definitely want to thank a bunch of the team members that we have here for making that possible, continuing to be a huge success. So with that, I'll head out, I'll hand things off to Prasanna. He's our leader here in Bangalore, and he's going to tell you a little bit about how gRPC fits into the ecosystem today.